biggest protest was our protest, and it was in 2016 on November 8th when we elected new leadership to the White House. And so since then, our president's made a lot of promises, and he's kept a lot of promises, and he's exemplified leadership. And so in his efforts to continue that trend, we have to be able to give him the tools that he needs to lead this country. We got to be able to fill that tool bag with his tools. And he's endorsing candidates across the country. And in each state, the Republican Party is embedded with never-Trumpers. And they are part of that swamp, and they're sometimes hard to identify. But we know who they are, and you know who they are. So we're fortunate to have Congressman Jim Renacci here. Congressman Renacci is a businessman with the work ethics of a farmer, a lot like our president. He's a very successful businessman. He didn't need this job 7 years ago, but he saw the direction of the country, but more importantly,
and what I'm all about. Chris told you a little bit about that. I was a business guy. No plans to ever run for national office. Always believed in giving back to my community. That was really the key. But what called me was when I saw the federal government getting too much involved. Getting too involved in our liberties and our individual rights. My dealership was taken away from me. And you know, when I say that, people say, how did that ever happen? Well, the federal government took over General Motors while I was getting ready to build a brand new dealership just actually 30 miles away from here. And out of the blue, I get a letter from General Motors, you know, just a few years after I took it over, turned it around, had worked with them, and they agreed to allow me to build this new dealership. I get a letter saying I'm not going to be part of the General Motors family anymore. That is when the federal government is getting too much and too deep involvement into our lives. And that's what really drove me to run for Congress. I've been there now for 7 years, and again, we need to change things in Washington. What you heard Chris say is so true. I was on a different path just a few months ago when the President and the White House called me, and there was a realization that we need to change the direction of our country. The President is doing that, and they asked for my help, and I jumped into this race. What I found is, as I travel the state, it's all about name ID. Everybody knows my opponent, Sherrod Brown, but they don't really know him. They know the name, they don't know him. What they should know is he's the third most liberal senator in the entire country. The third most liberal senator in a state that is truly a purple state, leading red. Leading red. But people don't know that. They just see the name, and that's the problem, because business owners like myself didn't spend time in 44 years getting people to know my name. I spent 40 plus years, 30 plus years just building my businesses and growing jobs and creating 1,500 jobs in this great state, employing over 3,000 people. That's the difference between a career businessman and a career politician. Too often we keep electing the same person because we know the name. We don't know the person. We don't know what their votes are. That's why these rallies are important. That's why getting people to know who I am is important. This is a name ID race. That's all it is. When people get to know me, they know that Jim Renacci is somebody who does believe in that blue-collar union person. I was a blue-collar union Democrat family. I grew up in a blue-collar union Democrat family, so I understand what it means to grow up in that type of family. I also understand when the Democratic Party left us, and I left the Democratic Party. So I've been there. I understand what it is when your family has very little. My dad lost his job when I was 8, and we had to learn how to survive. But I worked every little job opportunity I had. What I also learned was, for me to go to college, not like many others, Sherrod Brown's dad was a doctor. He paid for his college education. I had to work 3 jobs to get through college. That's another big difference. And then I always realized what it was, because my dad never forgot how great this country was. The opportunity to live the American dream. All you have to do, he used to say, is work hard, do the right thing. Work hard, do the right thing, and never forget the people that help you along the way. That was the driving force that got a 24-year-old, Jim Renacci, to come to Ohio, start his first business, risk capital, and grow one business to 60, create over 1,500 jobs, and employ 3,000 people. I live the American dream. And you know what I want to make sure? I want to make sure that what I saw 35 years ago in this state, we can still have. I want to restore that opportunity for the American dream for everybody in this state, for our children and our grandchildren. People always ask me why. Why am I running? It's a pretty simple answer. look, this country's been so great to me, and this state's been even better for me. This state is giving me the opportunity to live the American dream. I want to make sure that's available for our children and our grandchildren. I want to make sure that career politicians get out of the way. People who have never had to live within the world they make and the rules they make, get them out of the way. And let's start making sure that we put real people who have created jobs, signed the front of the paychecks, back into the power of government, so they can go there, change things, and then guess what? Come back home. That's why you saw me maybe less than a month ago sign a pledge. It's funny, my opponent, Sherrod Brown, said in 1997, you know the biggest problem in Washington? We have too many people that go there. They spend 20 and 30 years, and they forget about the state of Ohio. So he was a supporter of term limits. Now he wants to run, and if he's elected, he will be in the federal government for over 30 years. He is what he said is the problem with Ohio in 1997. He is what he said. Now he's become that person. I already said that I'll serve 2 terms in the Senate, and that's it. I want to go there, I want to change it, but I want to come back. There's nothing I love better than coming back here in places like this, being with my family, being with people like all of you, and understanding that this is what it's all about. This is America, as Chris said. There is nothing like being in rural America. There's nothing like being in Ohio. There's nothing like crisscrossing this state. It's one of the greatest honors I've had now in the last 6 months to a year, is to be able to experience Ohio. And let me tell you something, Ohio's hurting. Ohio's hurting. A lot of these rural towns, whether it's opioids, whether it's job losses, all those things. But since Donald Trump has come into the presidency, and since we've moved the tax cuts and jobs bill forward, Ohio is starting to boom again. You're seeing companies reinvesting. You're seeing employees having more money in their pockets. You're seeing people that are saying, I'm happy with what's going on. I've had people from, whether it's a grocery store or somebody at a hotel lobby, say to me, thank you for the extra money that I got in my pocket because of the jobs, tax cut and jobs bill that I was part of, not only part of the architecture of putting together, but I was also part of helping push together and getting passed with this president. Sherrod Brown voted against it. Sherrod Brown is not about moving this state forward, and he knows that. I say this all the time. He's a nice guy, but it's time for his retirement. It's time for him to retire because he's a career politician who worries more about what Chuck Schumer has to say than what all of you have to say. He votes more like many other people. He votes like Massachusetts people. He votes like Connecticut people. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but that's not the conservative right-center person. That's not what we have in Ohio. Ohio is a right-center state. You know, Ohio is a purple state trending red. And by the way, don't let anybody tell you there's a blue wave coming. There's a red wave coming in Ohio, and we're going to continue to have that red wave with all of you out there. So here's what I would ask you to do. And I know it's early, and I know there's more people coming, and I know bikers are coming. Hopefully the weather breaks, because I am a Harley rider too. I would question, getting on a bike today with this storm clouds around us. But I'm glad to see some of you are here, and I'm hoping that the storm breaks and many more people come. Because this is one of those events we just need to get together. And it's not about it's about rallying somewhat for me, but it's about rallying, as Chris said, for President Trump. It's about making sure that we're moving this agenda forward. And that's what I want to do. I want to help move this president's agenda forward. So here's what you can do to help me. And I say this because everybody always asks, what can we do? Look, you know a lot of people, you know a lot of friends. Just tell people the difference between myself and Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown's one of the most liberal senators, third most liberal senator in the country. By the way, you can go and get that on the internet. All right? He doesn't represent, he votes a majority of the time, I think it's 95% of the time with Elizabeth Warren too. I mean, that's the type of voting record he has. 95, 96, 97% with Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer. He's not voting for Ohio. Tell people that. Tell people about that record. People think he's a person, that he works for the blue-collar person. What's he done? When I'm with people that are in the middle-income groups, I always say to them, he's been around 44 years. What's he done for you? What's he done for you? You're happy? If you're happy with what he's done, vote for him again. I'm all for that. If you're happy, and by the way, there are some people that probably are going to be happy. I'm not sure why, but they'll vote for him. But in the end, if you're not happy, if you really like the agenda this president has, if you believe career politicians need to go home, if you believe we need to send them home, if you believe it's time to get behind an agenda that's changing things, what this president's doing, if you believe in all that, there's only one other choice in this U.S. Senate race coming up in November, and that's me. So I appreciate you being here. I wish I could stick around for the festivities. I got another event this afternoon. I'll be on media tomorrow. So you're going to see a lot of me over the next 3 months. But thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of the day. I wish I could stay, but I can't. And again, God bless all of you, and God bless not only America, but this state of Ohio. Thank you.
While the band prepares to play us
First camera. Okay. Wait, then. Look, okay. 3X or 2X? 2 if you guys can. Very cool.